The final days of the election campaign in the Northern Territory have been focused on the way the Country Liberal Party has argued whether one of their candidates should be disendorsed. It's been revealed the CLP candidate for Lingiari, Leo Abbott, was placed on a good behaviour bond last year after breaching a domestic violence order. A decision by the party hierarchy to continue to endorse Mr Abbott goes against the wishes of the Territory opposition leader, and he's called for a revision of the way the CLP handles preselection. Michael Coggan reports.
People will be looking very closely, I think, at how it's been played out. There's just this background noise of domestic violence, and you've got two people in opposing parties and two electorates, neighbouring electorates, who are involved in a DVO situation.
Well, sadly, it's politics standard. I mean, it is dirty politics, but dirty politics has for quite some time now been politics standard.
The federal seat of Lingiari has been held by Labor's Warren Snowden since it was first contested in 2001. Campaigning in the safe Labor seat is often overshadowed by the marginal Darwin-based seat of Solomon. But a dispute within the Country Liberal Party over whether to disendorse their Lingiari candidate because of a breach of a domestic violence order has become the focus of coverage in the last days before the poll.
There's a problem here. There's a real problem here with the credibility of the CLP and indeed of Tony Abbott and their ability to determine who will stand for them and run for the federal parliament.
It all came about as an anonymous attack on the CLP candidate, using, in fact, this rather unfortunate record that he appears to have, and I say appears advisedly, for a domestic violence issue and then a breaching of that domestic violence order against his partner.
The Country Liberal Party candidate Leo Abbott is campaigning against Warren Snowden in Lingiari. Mr Abbott says members of the CLP knew about the breach of the domestic violence order.
I'm not quite sure that everybody knew about it, because I'm talking about the whole party. We're talking about everybody that's a member of the Country Liberals. There was no violence, there was no force on my ex-partner whatsoever.
When the federal opposition heard about the DVO, they called for disendorsement.
Tony Abbott disagrees with the decision and abhors domestic violence, as does Terry Mills, the leader of the CLP.
Don't they have any authority in this matter?
Well, they put their view, but with pre-selections with the CLP, it is a local matter.
So should people not vote for him?
People will make their own judgment. He has to now make his case.
We know that the management committee of the CLP has overridden the desire both of Tony Abbott, of the erstwhile Prime Minister, the person who wants to be the Prime Minister, and the Northern Territory Leader of the Opposition, Terry Mills, whose desire it was to dump this candidate because of these breaches and because of his failure to divulge them.
The split within the CLP widened as the week progressed. Territory MLA Jodine Carney says health reasons and the argument over Leo Abbott's party endorsement contributed to her decision to quit politics next month. Facing a by-election, Territory opposition leader Terry Mills was maintaining a brave face.
My position is solid and I won't be moving. I know when I'm on the right spot and that gives me comfort. I know my colleagues know that I am on the money.
The fact is that now that it's out there, it may well have a significant effect, I think, on the seat of Solomon. I don't think it's going to have an effect on the seat of Lingiari because, frankly, except in extraordinary circumstances, Warren Snowden was never going to be in danger in that seat.
In the marginal Darwin seat of Solomon, Damien Hale has been forced to revisit the details of a domestic violence order taken out against him by his ex-wife.
The CLP became lazy and complacent.
Former CLP Chief Minister and Liberal Party President Shane Stone has been connected to moves to use the Leo Abbott case to put Damien Hale on the defensive. The Alice Springs News online newspaper quoted an email from Mr Stone about the domestic violence order against Leo Abbott.
If we determine it's correct, then we pull his preselection and at the same time challenge the ALP to do likewise with Hale.
They, of course, decided, well, let's bring Mr Hale into the frame because he has similar problems, and at the moment he's sliding beneath the radar, and apparently the Chief Minister, Mr Henderson, thinks that he's okay because I think, to quote Mr Henderson in Parliament, it's only the breaching of the DVO that's a bad thing. If you do it once, it's okay. If you do it twice, i.e. breach it, then you've got a problem. Well, that's just not good enough, I'm afraid.
The CLP are trying to muddy the waters for Damien, but they're chalk and cheese. I mean, Damien's issues were dealt with in a very public way. When they came to light, he dealt with them publicly, he dealt with them appropriately, he responded to the issues. They are chalk and cheese. There's been no issue to do with violence.
Although most people decry negative campaign tactics, the fact is the reasons why the parties use them is because they work.
If the Labor Party win on the weekend, the broadband's already began to be rolled out in places like Tasmania.
No one raised the domestic violence order issue at a public forum with the Solomon candidates this week, but it featured heavily in the media and election campaign material.
I condemn any type of family violence, and I have never partaken in it.
I do not support the endorsement of Leo Abbott, and I do not support the decision made from management. I've not let it deviate me from campaigning this week. I've continued to campaign hard.
Leo Abbott has not responded to repeated calls from State Line. Up to a quarter of Territory voters have already cast their votes, but it could be days or weeks before the results in this part of the country are finalised.
Michael Coggan reporting.